Hi, welcome back to our channel. In today's video we are going to be looking at 8 common interview questions specifically tailored to payable clerks. If you are looking to get a job in this role, you've come to the right place. Now sit back, grab your writing essentials, and let's get started. Question 1. Can you describe your experience with accounts payable processes? When answering this question, focus on your familiarity with the entire accounts payable process, including invoice processing, managing vendor relationships, and ensuring timely payments. Mention specific systems or software you've used, such as SAP, Oracle, or QuickBooks, and highlight your attention to detail and ability to manage multiple tasks efficiently. Here's an example of how you might respond. In my previous role as an accounts payable clerk, I was responsible for processing an average of 150 invoices per week, ensuring all payments were made on time. I regularly communicated with vendors to resolve discrepancies and used SAP to track and manage accounts payable transactions. My attention to detail helped me maintain accurate records and identify any issues before they became problems, ensuring the smooth operation of our financial processes. Question 2. How do you ensure accuracy when entering and processing invoices? I'm sure you've heard this a lot, but accuracy is critical in accounts payable. Explain your approach to double-checking entries, reconciling accounts, and using automated tools to minimize errors. Mention any specific techniques you use, such as cross-referencing data or setting up checks and balances, to ensure precision in your work. Here's an example of how you might respond. I prioritize accuracy by thoroughly cross-referencing invoices with purchase orders and delivery receipts before processing. I also use QuickBooks to automate certain aspects of the data entry process, reducing the risk of human error. After entering the data, I review it to ensure everything matches up and reconcile accounts monthly to catch any discrepancies early. Question 3. Can you describe a time when you had to resolve a discrepancy with a vendor? When discussing this, focus on your communication skills, problem-solving ability, and understanding of the accounts payable process. Explain the situation, the steps you took to investigate and resolve the issue, and how you ensured a positive outcome for both your company and the vendor. Listen to this example response. Once, a vendor contacted us about an unpaid invoice, but our records showed it had already been paid. I carefully reviewed the transaction history and discovered a processing error on our end. I immediately contacted the vendor, explained the situation, and arranged for the payment to be made promptly. I also worked with my team to implement additional checks in our process to prevent similar issues in the future. Question 4. How do you handle a situation where you have multiple invoices with the same due date but limited funds available? When addressing this question, focus on your decision-making process and how you prioritize payments. Explain your understanding of the importance of maintaining good relationships with key vendors, the criteria you use to determine which invoices to prioritize, and how you communicate with vendors to manage expectations. Here's an example of how you might respond. If faced with limited funds and multiple invoices due on the same date, I would first prioritize payments based on the importance of the vendor relationship and any potential impact on our operations. I'd pay key suppliers or those with whom we have long-standing relationships first. I would also communicate with the other vendors to explain the situation and negotiate extended payment terms if possible. My goal would be to manage cash flow effectively while maintaining good relationships with all our vendors. Question 5. What strategies do you use to maintain positive relationships with vendors? Explain your approach to building and maintaining strong vendor relationships, emphasizing communication, reliability, and professionalism. Mention any strategies you use to ensure vendors are paid on time and that any issues are resolved quickly and amicably. Here's an example of how you might respond. I maintain positive relationships with vendors by communicating clearly and promptly, ensuring they always know the status of their payments. I make it a point to process invoices promptly and resolve any discrepancies as soon as they arise. I also try to anticipate vendor needs and address potential issues before they become problems. This approach has helped me build trust and foster long-term relationships with our vendors. Question 6. How do you ensure compliance with company policies and procedures in the accounts payable process? In your response, discuss your familiarity with company policies and procedures and how you apply them in your day-to-day work. Mention any specific steps you take to ensure compliance, such as regular audits, cross-checking data, or staying informed about any updates to policies. Here's an example of how you might respond. I ensure compliance with company policies and procedures by thoroughly understanding them and applying them consistently in my work. For example, I always verify that all invoices are properly approved before processing and that they match the corresponding purchase orders and delivery receipts. I also stay updated on any changes to company policies by regularly reviewing internal communications and attending any training sessions. By following these steps, I help ensure that our accounts payable process remains compliant and efficient. Question 7. How do you handle situations where you receive an invoice with discrepancies in the amount or details? Explain your approach to identifying and resolving discrepancies in invoices. Discuss how you would verify the information, communicate with the vendor or internal departments to clarify the issue, and ensure that the invoice is corrected and processed accurately. Here's an example of how you might respond. When I receive an invoice with discrepancies, I first compare it against the corresponding purchase order and delivery receipt to identify the source of the discrepancy. I then reach out to the vendor to discuss and clarify the issue. If it's an internal mistake, I work with the relevant department to correct it. Once the correct information is confirmed, I update the invoice and proceed with the payment process, ensuring that everything is accurate and documented properly. This approach helps prevent future issues and maintains our good standing with vendors. Question 8. What would you do if you noticed an unusual transaction or potential fraud? When answering this question, emphasize your vigilance and understanding of the steps to take in such situations. Describe how you would investigate the transaction, report it to the appropriate authorities, and take action to prevent future occurrences. Here's an example of how you might respond. If I noticed an unusual transaction or suspected fraud, I would first review the transaction details carefully to confirm whether it was an error or something more serious. If it still appeared suspicious, I would immediately report it to my supervisor and our internal audit team, providing all the relevant information. I would also document my findings and cooperate fully with any investigation, ensuring we address the issue promptly and take steps to prevent it from happening again. These common interview questions for payable clerks are designed to gauge your expertise in managing accounts payable processes, and your commitment to accuracy and compliance. Although these are likely questions for your interview, tailor your answers to reflect your personal experiences and the specific requirements of the job you're applying for. If you found this video helpful, like, share and subscribe. Don't forget to turn your post notification on so you get notified anytime we post. Thanks for watching, see you in the next video.